Welcome to Cat and Jess Talk the Best, where we're going to be talking about IMDb's top 250 movies from April 12th, 2018. My name is Kat.
And I'm Jess.
And today we are talking about number 196, Jurassic Park, which is an action-adventure sci-fi film from 1993. This has a 8.1 on 792,195 votes. The spoiler-free synopsis. In Steven Spielberg's massive blockbuster, paleontologists Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler and mathematician Ian Malcolm are among a select group chosen to tour an island theme park populated by dinosaurs created from prehistoric DNA. While the park's mastermind, billionaire John Hammond, assures everyone that the facility is safe, they find out otherwise when various ferocious predators break free and go on the hunt.
Yeah, that's the movie.
There you go. That's all you get. That's it. That's Jurassic Park.
I mean, in a nutshell, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Alright, so since you already mentioned him, directed by Steven Spielberg, we've had him already on the list twice so far, with Jaws at 237 and Catch Me If You Can at 216. And he is in our top 10, actually, with the number 6, Schindler's List.
Yep. We've got quite a few from him on the list.
And, of course, it stars Sam Neill, Lauren Dern, and Jeff Goldblum.
Yep.
I mean, I love Sam Neill in this. Oh my gosh. But I just like Sam Neill's acting in general. He's great. I mean, I love him. I think my favorite movie he's in is Event Horizon.
So, the ratings. IMDb, 32.8% of users rated this at an 8. Metacritic, it has a 68. Rotten Tomatoes, it has 91 on 125 critical reviews. So, two of the fresh. Michael O'Sullivan, the enthralling man versus nature parable based on the late Michael Crichton's best-selling novel hasn't aged one bit.
Yeah.
There is one bit that's aged. Just one. That's the CGI.
Oh, yeah.
But there's not that much CGI in it, so it doesn't matter.
I was gonna say that too, but you beat me to it.
That's literally the only part of the movie that has aged, is the CGI. But most of the time, the dinosaurs aren't CGI, so it's okay.
Exactly.
Josh Terry. Altogether, Jurassic Park is an excellent example of how special effects are best used to support a good story, not supplant it.
Thank you.
Yeah. They make the story even better. The story on its own, having read the book, the story on its own is great. Then you add the special effects of the animatronics for the dinosaurs, and it's just blows it out of the water. It makes it so much more real.
Agreed.
2 Rotten. Stephen J. Gold. I did not feel that I wasted my 2 hours or my $7 plus another 2 for the indigestible Raptor Bites candy tie-in. I feel like that was unnecessary. But I was deeply disappointed by much about the movie. Well, then you don't like dinosaurs.
That's what I was
Sir.
gonna say. I'm like, you're probably not a big fan of dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I mean, that just confuses me, but okay.
Yeah. Adam Mars Jones. An economic necessity of securing a PG certificate for what is essentially a horror film has been allowed to intervene in the storytelling, so that the tone is constantly disrupted by an incongruous reassurance. I mean, yeah, it's a PG horror film, but what's wrong with that?
It's a great one.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So the consensus. Jurassic Park is a spectacle of special effects and lifelike animatronics, with some of Spielberg's best sequences of sustained awe and sheer terror since Jaws. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I was Logan and I was watching this video, and it was about Jurassic Park. I'm like, all right, I want to see this. It's talking about the cinematography about all of it, and how it's saying it was just, like, so, like, groundbreaking, and just, like, made the movies just so much better.
Well, and that's the thing, like, that's what Spielberg has done throughout his entire career. Every time he does a movie, it seems like he's breaking some kind of new ground with something. Like, he was the first one to use animatronics in the water with Jaws, and now he's the first one to use, this many animatronics in a movie? And make them look this realistic?
Yeah.
Like, that's what Steven Spielberg does.
It's like, I give him credit, he's an amazing director. Amazing.
The money. The budget for this film was $63 million. The opening weekend, it made $47,026,828. Domestic, it made $402,828,120. International, $726,700,000, for a worldwide total of $1,029,528,120. Its all-time domestic rank is number 35. And its highest all-time rank, it hit on September 24th, 1993, was number 2. So
about 3 months after it came out.
Yep, a week after I was born as well.
Doesn't that make you just, like, a little more of a connection there?
Yeah. I think so.
That's what I thought.
So, the awards. This did win 3 Oscars. It had 37 other wins and 26 other nominations. The ones that we are going to talk about are the Oscars and the BAFTAs, because I'm not going to sit here and list all the special effects awards that it won, because that's what it won. A ton of them.
Well, yeah.
So, the Academy Awards it won were Best Sound, Best Effects, Sound Effects Editing, and Best Effects Visual Effects. I mean, when you can make dinosaur sounds after, like, not even knowing what sounds dinosaurs make, I think you're gonna win some best sound editing.
Exactly. I mean, when I was watching this, I told Logan, because he watched it with me, I'm like, okay, we gotta have it dark in the room, we gotta have the surround sound going on, because I gotta hear that nice, loud roar.
Yeah, you gotta
from
hear
that
that T-Rex roar.
Oof.
I was listening to
Beautiful.
it, and I was watching it in the theater, and it scared Booth a few times.
Poor Booth.
He's not a big fan of the surround sound, then you add monsters and dinosaurs and stuff onto the screen, and he's just not having it. So then, the BAFTA Awards, it won Best Special Effects, and then it also won a special award, Lloyd's Bank People's Vote for the Most Popular Film, and then it was nominated for Best Sound. It did not win, but it was nominated. And then pretty much all of the rest of them were Best Sound and Best Visual Effects.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta give credit to that Stan Winston studio. Oh my god. Whew. They're incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, they made, like, these giant dinosaurs, and it just, like, blows your mind.
It really does. It's great.
Like, mind blown.
Alright, so initial thoughts.
I don't think I even remember the first time I watched this. It's been a long time since I first watched it. But I do remember, like, I really liked it. I was like, yeah, dinosaurs, awesome. You know, every kid usually goes through a dinosaur phase.
I guess I just got stuck.
You got stuck. It's like, I like dinosaurs, but, you know, it's not, like, my favorite thing. And I was like, I love this movie. Like, I was so happy. I was like, man, I forgot how much I liked this movie. I mean, just the special effects, the musical score. Oh my god, John Williams. Whew.
Every time I hear that theme, like, it doesn't matter if I'm watching a movie or not. I just stop and I just imagine dinosaurs. I'm like, yes! Here we go.
It's a pretty simple motif,
Yeah.
but it's very recognizable. Very just like, you're like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Like, I really like the story too. It's like, it's something like different. You're like,
because, you know, we've had, up to this point, we've had monster movies. Because, you know, we've had Frankenstein, we've had Dracula, we've had Jaws. So we've had monster movies, but we hadn't had anything that brings back something that we've never even seen before.
it's been dead for like 60-something million years.
Yeah, like, we knew about dinosaurs. We didn't know a lot about dinosaurs, but we knew about them. Like, we knew what they were, and they were just kind of this foreign thing. And then they bring it back, and they show us what it could be like. What it would be like if humans and dinosaurs were living in the same world. And it's actually kind of scary to think about.
It's completely scary. It's like, oh my god, this thing could eat me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really remember the first time I watched this, but I do know that I love it. I watch it quite a bit. Honestly, this one and Jurassic World are the two that I watch the most. Occasionally I'll watch all the rest of them, but we'll get to that. I love this movie. It's great. It's really well done. I love the animatronics. And I love how far we've come in animatronics, that even this movie from 26 years ago now still looks just as good as animatronics now. But yeah, that's all. I think that's all I got for that.
Okay.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Alright, that was your warning. If you haven't watched the film yet, then come back after you've watched it. So, we start out with, of course, the Universal logo. And we hear, like, jungle sounds and stuff. Then we get to see the jungle. Of course, it goes through, like, the beginning credits. We've got sounds of the jungle, you know, like trees swaying, animals chirping and stuff. And then it goes into, we actually see the jungle. And then we see some guys with guns. Some big, huge crates. And you can tell that there's something in it, like some kind of animal or something.
Yeah, it's like shaking and like making noise.
Yeah. And then you can definitely tell that it is not a normal animal because of the noise that it's making. Like, I have never heard that noise in my life, so it's not a normal animal.
No. This is on the Isla Nublar?
Yep.
Because it says it around this time.
Isla Nublar. And actually, in that chain of islands there's 5 of them. 6 of them. 5 or 6.
Because it's part of Costa Rica.
Yeah. And then, they're trying to attach this crate to a pin, but the animal that's inside disrupts that and attacks. And it gets a hold of one of the workers. And that's not too good.
No, like, and then there's one person, like, trying to rescue him, and he's, like, slipping through his hands, and, like,
Yeah.
oh, Lord, this is not good.
Yeah. And then, we go to the Dominican Republic. And we see this guy standing on a raft. And he definitely does not look like he belongs there. He's wearing...
No, like a business suit and everything.
Yeah. And he's talking to someone about the accident, and we're supposed to presume that the accident is where the animal ate, because at this point we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But the animal ate the person, so they're talking about that accident, and someone named John Hammond was supposed to meet this guy there to talk about it, because the family of the guy that got eaten is not very happy which I can imagine why.
It's like, oops, sorry. Workplace accident.
Yeah. Not really, but that is a tragedy. But so they're talking about it and kind of walking towards this mine.
Yeah.
And what they are mining for is amber, I believe.
Yeah. And they find one.
Yeah, with a mosquito in it.
Which is very important.
Yes. And then we jump all the way to Montana.
The Badlands.
Yes. And we see some people uncovering some dino bones. Some dinosaur bones. Which is actually really cool. But yeah, so they're uncovering it. And then they say that the machine is ready. And they have this machine where it shoots like a shotgun shell into the ground and makes like seismic waves, and that bounces off of the bones, and then they get a picture of the bones.
It's kind of like a radar.
Yeah.
gun.
And the picture that they get is of a raptor, and it's like the full skeleton of a raptor. Velociraptor, not just raptor, but
Yes,
raptor for short.
It's like, because there's different raptors, but this is like the Velociraptor.
Yeah, this is like the main one.
This part, I'm not gonna lie, cracks me up.
Yeah, so Dr. Grant we have met now, and Dr. Sattler we have met. Dr. Grant is the paleontologist, and Dr. Sattler is a botanist, like a paleobotanist.
Yeah.
It's like prehistoric botanist.
Yeah.
And so Dr. Grant's not very good with computers, so he keeps messing it up. But then there's this little kid. He's like, that's not very scary. And then this just makes me laugh every time. Dr. Grant apparently is not very good with children.
No.
And he explains to this child why he should be afraid of velociraptors. About like how they attack and how they'll kill you without you even knowing what happened, but well, I mean kind of like with you knowing what happened. But like they'll attack you and you don't even know where they came from really. And then they will eat you while you're still alive.
Yeah. Because they're pack hunters. There's usually one, and you find it, but you gotta watch out for like the other two that are coming on the sides.
Yeah.
I'm like, nice. I'm like, that's how you scare children.
Yeah. And so the kid's like, okay, I'm scared now.
It doesn't help he pulls out like a raptor, like
A little raptor claw.
yeah. And just like tries pretends like to slash his kid's like stomach. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely how you scare a kid. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Sattler and Grant are kind of walking away. I don't know where they're headed to, just somewhere else in the same area. And they're talking about how Sattler wants kids, and Grant's like, why do you want kids? They're all like that, and they smell. So then there's this chopper, and it comes and lands right in the middle of the Badlands where they're trying to dig. And so it's like blowing dirt all over these bones that they just uncovered. And everybody's like scrambling to cover them with tarps and stuff so that way they don't get completely covered back up. Do this inconsiderate person. And Grant runs to the trailer because that's where the pilot of the chopper points to. And there's someone in there. And then he's like griping at him, but then the guy introduces himself as John Hammond, the man who has funded their dig. $50,000 worth, I think.
Yeah.
Is what he said.
And he's just like pulling out, like looking in their fridge, pulls out some champagne. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And then Sattler comes in and she's upset too. And then she learns who he is, and then she stops. And I noticed something on the fridge that I never noticed before. But on the fridge there's this newspaper, and it says, "Space aliens stole my face."
What?
Yeah.
Well, now I gotta watch it again.
That's a perfect reason to watch it again.
Let's look for that.
Yeah. I noticed that, and I was just like, what? I've never seen that before in the millions of times I've watched this friggin' movie. I just thought that was funny. I wanted to point it out.
You learn something new every time.
Yep. But so, John Hammond is very eccentric, and he is talking about his island theme park and how he wants Dr. Grant and Dr. Statler to come out there and kind of give their consultants, like be a consultant on the island. And
yeah, their professional opinion.
Yeah. He wants them to prove to the lawyer that it's perfectly safe and a great idea. And they're like, well, why do you want us? And he's like, you'll see. He doesn't even tell him. He's just like, you'll see.
He's like, you're the perfect people for this.
Yeah. And he tells them that he's gonna fully fund their dig for the next 3 years if they come do it. And they're like, yeah, okay.
Done.
So then we're in Costa Rica. And we see this businessman get out of a car. And then it flashes over to a guy sitting there eating all kinds of food. Like, he feasted. Which, I mean, you're eating food in Costa Rica, I probably would too. Because the Costa Rican food that I have had is really good, so I can only imagine actually getting it in Costa Rica.
Huh. Yeah, I've never had it.
Food trucks. They're awesome.
Food trucks.
I love food trucks. But so, the businessman gets out and goes and talks to the guy that was sitting there eating. The businessman's name is Dodson. The guy that was eating, his name is Dennis Nedry. And they were talking about embryos. And about how Dodson paid Nedry $75,000 or $750,000, one of those two. There was a 7 and 5 in there somewhere. And he has to get the rest of the embryos, all 15, and then he'll get paid the rest of the money.
Yes. And he has like a certain time limit to get this done.
Yeah, because he gives them this little shaving cream can that you could take the bottom out and store the embryos in, and he only has 36 hours before the cooling stuff wears off, because embryos have to be stored at a certain temperature for them to still be viable. And so they agree to it and everything. And then Nedry's like, don't get cheap on me, and makes Dodson pay for his lunch. I was like, that's funny.
I'm like, oh, I mean, okay. I mean, he's doing this for you, so I guess you can pay for his food?
Yeah.
Question mark?
So then we see that they're on the chopper. We've got Gennaro, which is the lawyer, which is the guy that came in on the raft in the Dominican Republic. And we've got Hammond, we've got Statler, we've got Grant, and then we've got Ian Malcolm.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yes. And he is a mathematician, or as he likes to call himself, a chaotician.
Because of chaos theory.
Yes, he is versed in chaos theory. That's what he chooses to study.
I can see why.
But they're all chatting and kind of getting to know each other and stuff. And then we see the island. And we get that wonderful Jurassic Park theme.
Ugh. It's gorgeous scenery.
Yes. And it's actually not... It's funny because they didn't film in Costa Rica. The island that they're filming is actually a Hawaiian island.
Yes, it is. I know, because I've been there.
I have not, but I am going to go one day.
It is gorgeous. In real life, it is beautiful.
Oh, I believe it.
It is.
Then they get out of the helicopter and they go get into some Jeeps. And then they're driving along and they come up to the gates. And they're like electrified gates because they're on the perimeter of island. Well, kind of on the perimeter. But are on the perimeter of the park. And so they're electrified, so they have to be opened for the people to get in. And then Gennaro's talking about how he's there to do a safety check, and that he has to reassure the investors that this is a safe thing. So they're driving along, and you see Statler, she's like examining this plant, saying this isn't right, this isn't right.
You're like, this has been like extinct for like millions of years.
Yeah.
She's like puzzled, like, where the hell did this come from?
Yeah. And then they stop the Jeep because they see some dinosaurs. And they get out, and you get that theme again. You get that Jurassic Park dino theme, and you see the dinosaurs. And this is where, like, the CGI is a little bit spotty. I feel like because I was watching the DVD version, so I feel like in the Blu-ray and the 4K versions it's probably fixed a little bit better because they remaster them, so the CGI is probably a little bit better, not quite up to scale with what we have now, but still.
Yeah, it was a little bit better, because I watched the Blu-ray version.
Oh, okay. Because
yeah, it was a little bit better, but I can still tell it was a little older CGI, for sure. But
still, it holds up really well. Like, it's not terrible. It's just not 100% great up to date to today's standards.
And this is another good example of Spielberg's cinematography skills. Like, especially just showing the height difference.
Yeah.
He was like a vertical, what is it called? Like, vertical, like, camera angles, kind of.
Yeah.
And so it shows how tall this Brachiosaurus is.
Yeah.
Compared to these tiny little humans. And I'm sure Sam Neill's not that short of a guy.
No, I think he's like 6 foot or something like that.
He is about 6 foot. He's 5'11". So he's not short.
No.
By all means. And this dinosaur is just ginormous.
Yeah.
And it's just such good camera work right here. I was like, bravo. Amazing.
Yeah, this is like one of the iconic shots in this movie. Like, there's quite a few in this movie, but this is one of the iconic shots that you get in this movie. Seeing Dr. Grant and Dr. Statler standing there with the Brachiosaurus just towering over them.
Towering. I'm like, and this is CGI, and with it, like, so it's not really there.
Yeah.
And you just see it, and it's just, like, kind of just, it blows my mind every time I see it.
Yeah.
Every time.
And then we get a look at, there's quite a few of them out there. There's some Brachiosauruses, there's some Hadrosaurs, there's, like, all kinds of dinosaurs out there, and they're just doing their dinosaur thing. They're just out there in herds, eating and drinking and, being dinosaurs.
And it's just like, they're like, Grant and Statler are just like, amazed.
Yeah.
They're like, what?
Yeah.
These things are supposed to be extinct. And they're like right here.
Yeah. So, then they get back in the car and into the Jeeps, and they head on to the visitor center. And this is where Hammond's going to kind of explain the science behind what happened and like how he was able to do this. And they get to this little ride thing, and it's just, it starts out and they get in there and they sit down, and it's like this little screen, and it tells you about how they were able to get the DNA from insects that were trapped in amber, because those insects sucked the blood of dinosaurs and then got caught in tree sap and then fossilized, and it made little amber stones. And then they found the stones, they drilled in it, and got the dinosaur blood out of the butt of the mosquito.
Yes. As like, since like not all the DNA is like completely there, so they had to put in frog DNA to like fill it.
Which is important.
Yes, that is very important for later.
And so, this little ride thing, I know exactly where they got the idea for this. Because there is this ride at Disney World that Walt Disney himself made, and he took it, for a while he took it to different fairs until he finally built Disney World, where he kept it, called the Carousel of Progress, and it's this big round room, and it's got different quarters and stuff, and you go in, and the first one you see, it's like this, right, it's got animatronics in it, and they do this little scene, and then instead of the stage moving to go to a different thing, you move around and you see a bunch of different stages. So that's where this concept of this ride thing came from. Like, I recognized it instantly.
That's kind of what I think they're going for, too.
Probably.
Like, this is like, they're like, it's like a darker version of Disneyland, Disney World.
Yeah, well, they do reference Disney a lot in this. Like, they specifically talk about Disney in this movie.
And, like, Hammond's kind of like kind of like Walt Disney in a way.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah. And so they're going along in the ride, and then they are seeing these labs where the scientists are producing the DNA and hatching eggs and stuff. And Dr. Grant's like, I want out. I want to see these. So him and Statler and Malcolm all not break it, but they pull the lap bars up and get out and go into the egg room. And it's really cool because you get to see the dinosaur eggs. And you also get to see you get to see the baby velociraptor be born.
Yes. And Hammond's like, oh good, it's hatching. I like to be present for every, every dino hatching.
Yeah, because he says it'll make them trust him more. I was like, these aren't dogs. That's not gonna work. But we also get Henry Wu, who is the head scientist, and he says that they engineer the dinosaurs to be all female so they can't reproduce in the wild because they deny them an enzyme that would make them male. When the time comes, they deny them that enzyme.
That's important to remember.
Yes. So many important things.
It's like just little things you have to remember, like, oh, okay, this is gonna help later. Okay. Yeah.
And Malcolm is questioning Wu and doubting it. He's just like, oh, I think you're wrong. I think they're gonna figure it out. And Wu's like, you think a whole bunch of females are gonna somehow figure out a way to reproduce? He's
Evolution?
He's like, that's not what I'm saying, but something's gonna happen. And Grant is like, they've seen the baby hatch, and Grant's asking what kind of dinosaur it is, and they tell him that it's a raptor, and then you see that worried face, and that's huge foreshadowing.
Oh, completely. And he's actually holding it too. I thought that was cute.
Yeah, it's a cute little dinosaur, and pretty sure that one's animatronic because it does not look CGI at all. No,
I think it was animatronic also. I mean, with that one you could easily do. I mean, that's not too hard of a one. Like, the ones we're going to just, talk about in a while, those are way more challenging, way more difficult to make. But this one's easier.
Yeah. So they go outside to see the raptors, but you can't really see them, so they put a cow in the pen. Like, it's a big friggin' cow. And the raptors come and attack it and eat the cow. And then we get introduced to Muldoon, and he is the warden, I guess, really, the animal caretaker. He knows about the animals, he knows the safety specifications for all the animals, where all the animals are supposed to be and all that. And he's telling Grant about the raptors, because Grant's asking questions like, how smart are they? how do they hunt, all kinds of stuff, and he's just answering all of Grant's questions. So we find out that velociraptors are very smart. We find out that they don't hunt solitary, which we kind of knew that already. We got the little story from Grant earlier, but we get the confirmation from it about how they kind of distract you with one of them and sneak up with the other two.
It's like, yep, and they learn.
Yep, they're very smart.
It's like they watch and they test everything. That's what he was saying. They were testing the fence.
Yeah, trying to find a weakness.
The weak spots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, that's a big issue if they're that smart.
Yeah. And so then it ends up being lunchtime, and they are talking about, they got some screens up of future rides that are going to be there, which you can't really tell what they are, but there's like 3 or 4 of them that pop up on the screens and just kind of change.
He has like a timeline for each one of them.
Yeah, he says 6 to 12 months after the park opens is when all of the rides will open. But they will have the main one, which is like the tour, which is what they're going to do after they eat. And Malcolm is like telling what he thinks is wrong with the park through his twisted chaos theory way. He's like,
oh, it's brilliant. He has so many like good lines in this little like spiel he has.
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah. But he's just like, he's doubting it, and it's funny because Dr. Sattler and Dr. Grant were brought by Hammond to support the park, and Malcolm was brought by Gennaro to kind of pick apart the park, and yet it's Malcolm, Grant, and Sattler that are like picking apart the park, whereas Gennaro's like, oh, we're gonna make so much money off of this.
Yeah, because, like, Malcolm talks about how, like, why this park is wrong, and, Sattler's talking about, like, how the ecosystem and all that.
Yeah.
She's like, there's plants in here that are poisonous, and all that. You mix them all together, and it's just a big old mess. She's talking, like, you know, like, the botany side of it. And Grant's just like, what's gonna happen? You're mixing humans and dinosaurs had their time.
Yeah.
60 million years ago. And we're now. And mixing those together, what's going to happen?
Yeah. And then they're going out to go to the little cars to take their tour. And we meet Hammond's grandkids, Lex and Tim. And as we know, Grant is not very good with kids, and so the kids are messing with him, trying to get his attention and stuff. Tim is very interested because he's read Grant's book, and Lex is just kind of interested, but really just trying to bother him because Sattler told her to bother him.
She's like, it'll be good for him.
Yeah. But it ends up Gennaro's in the car with Lex and Tim, and then Malcolm, Sattler, and Grant are in one car. Because there's 2 of them. And they're going along. And we hear, like, we see the control room. And we hear that there is a tropical storm coming. And they're trying to keep a watch on it to see if it's going to change directions. So, at the moment, we don't quite know. Then we go back to the cars and we get to see the Jurassic Park gate. And we get the theme again.
It's like the iconic gate right there.
Yes. The big wooden one with the Jurassic Park over it. The 2 doors that open. It's awesome. And everybody's excited to see the dinosaurs. And the first dinosaur that they're supposed to see is the Dilophosaurus. But they don't see it.
No.
Because they're hiding. Because these animals spit acid, or spit poison really, to injure their prey and then wait for the poison to sink in and take effect, and then they attack. So they're not really going to be showing their face.
I was like, Foreshadowing!
Yeah, definite. But they don't see that one. And then, we go back to the control room, and we see Arnold, who is Samuel L. Jackson. We see him, and he's making a glitch list, and this time it's the headlights. And, Nedry is there, the guy that we saw earlier taking a payment for some embryos. And now we know what it means, taking a payment for the embryos. He's going to steal some. Or at least you can guess that.
Yeah.
And he's arguing with Hammond about his pay. And Hammond's like, well, maybe you should just be better with your money or something like that. He's like, I'm not going to argue with you about it. But then the cars are stopped in front of the T-Rex paddock.
Yes.
And they pull up a goat in the paddock to attract the T-Rex. But of course, T-Rexes are hunters, so it's not gonna come when it's paged with a goat.
I was like, there's another line here, but we'll save that for later.
Yeah, we're saving all the lines.
I'm trying to, it's so hard.
It is.
There's so many of them.
Malcolm is kind of trying to explain chaos theory to Dr. Sattler. And that's too much sciencey stuff for me right now to explain.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not gonna go into it. You either know what chaos theory is or you don't.
I'm too tired to get into it, too. I had my first day of school with children today, so I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
We're not doing that today. Not doing it.
Yeah. But he does a really good job of explaining it simply. Car's driving along, and Dr. Grant and Dr. Sattler get out because they see something over in the grass. They see the vet over in the grass. He's over there with a dinosaur, so they go over there. And literally everyone gets out.
And, like, was it back in, like, the control center? They're like, I told you we should have had, like, put, like, locks in it.
Yeah.
Like, so they couldn't get out.
Yeah. And, Tim is talking to Dr. Grant about this other author, about the other author's book, and how his book is bigger than Dr. Grant's book. And then they come upon this sick dinosaur. It is a triceratops. And
Yes.
it is sick. And, the vet is trying to, his name is Harding, I believe. He's tried to figure out what's wrong with it, and so Dr. Sattler is over there trying to help him, and, trying to help him figure out what it is, what's wrong with it.
And she's, like, looking around. She's like, did they eat, like, this plant? Because that's, like, poisonous to it.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. She's like, well, I'm gonna have to check anyway. She's like, I gotta go through, like, you know, the
Excrement.
the dinosaur shit.
Yeah.
In simple terms.
Yeah.
Big piles of it, too.
Yeah. And then, in the control room, we find out that the storm is not deterring. It's going to keep going straight into the path where they're at. So they have to stop the tour, bring everybody back, and then continue the tour tomorrow to let the storm pass. So they call everybody back. Dr. Sattler says she's going to stay with Dr. Harding to help him figure out the animal, like what's wrong with the Triceratops.
I love this Triceratops.
Yeah.
Great animatronics
Yeah.
here. Especially, like, with it breathing.
Yeah, because Grant, like, lays on it, and you just see it breathing. It's awesome. Just all of the animatronics in this movie were great.
Oh. I just especially love this one. Because I watched, like, an entire video on, like, how this one was created. And I'm like, oh my gosh. This is awesome.
Yeah. So, Dennis Nedry, he's talking on the phone to the... Oh, wait, maybe not yet.
this is it.
Yeah, he's talking on the phone to the captain of the ship, and the captain's like, we gotta leave now. I don't know if I can wait 20 minutes for you. This storm is getting bad. And he's like, just wait, I can make it, I promise. So then he puts his plan into effect, and he kind of like tries to distract Muldoon, Arnold, and Hammond, but they're just like, okay. Like, don't really seem to care about anything that he's doing. And he's like stammering and sweating, and you know something's up. But they just kind of seem thick and don't get it.
It's like, you would think he's up to something if you're watching very closely.
Yeah. And so Nedry shuts down the systems, like shuts down some of the systems because he needs to get through the security doors, which he doesn't have clearance for. So he has to shut down the security doors. And not only does it shut down the security doors, but it shuts down a lot of the power to the park. Like some of the fences are shut down. The cars get shut down. The cars that everybody's in get shut down. All the ones that are electric on that track. And he's over there collecting the embryos, and Hammond and Arnold and Muldoon are like, well, what's going on? What's wrong? And we get this, like, moment where Malcolm is talking to Dr. Grant about how he's single and ready to mingle all the time. And
he's like always looking for the new ex.
Yeah, the new ex-Mrs. Malcolm. And
well, you know yourself that well.
He's asking if Statler is available. And Dr. Grant's like, no.
He's like, is it you two? He's like, yeah. It's like, alright.
And then, we see Dennis gets into one of the jeeps, one of the gas-powered jeeps, and he's like trying to make his way to the dock. And he loses control and runs into the sign, so he doesn't know which way the dock is.
Yeah.
He's not the brightest person in the world. And
he's the freaking cause for the rest of this damn movie.
Yeah. It's his fault. But
it's completely his fault.
He gets his payback. So it's okay.
Yeah. That's what I was saying too when I watched this. I just watched this, what was it? Sunday night?
I watched it earlier today.
I was telling Logan, I'm like, I hate that dude, but he gets his, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, he gets his, so it's okay. And we see Arnold tried to stop everything that Nedry did, but we get that And I always thought that was the most annoying thing in the world.
Oh, completely.
And so Arnold can't stop it, so they're like trying to figure out what they need to do. Then we jump back to the cars, and Tim has found some night vision goggles. And I'm just going to say this line because it's not really my favorite. I just think it's kind of funny. But
say it.
Gennaro's like, where did you get those? Tim says, in the box under my seat. Gennaro says, are they heavy? Tim says, yes. And then Gennaro's like, well, they're expensive, so put them back. So that means they're expensive, so put them back.
So everything that's heavy is expensive.
Yeah, apparently, according to Gennaro, the lawyer. So,
well, I mean, his opinion doesn't matter much longer. But...
No, not much longer. So, the cars have stopped because, the power is off, and they are stopped in front of the T-Rex paddock. And we hear something big moving. And we get the
water.
sense, yeah, you see the water moving. Tim puts on the night vision goggles and is like looking around, and he sees that the goat is gone. And then all of a sudden, the goat leg gets thrown on top of the car that the kids are in. Gennaro books it. He's scared.
Runs to the bathroom.
Yeah, the bathroom. And he hides in the stall. And then, Malcolm and Grant are like, well, when you gotta go, you gotta go. Nature calls. So they see the T-Rex, and its little claw, its big claw is on the fence, the electric fence that is now off. And then we see that the fence is broken and the T-Rex gets out. And then we've got our very first attack. And this whole entire scene is just amazing. Because you've got this big animatronic T-Rex. And every shot you get of it is great. I loved every shot of this attack from the T-Rex. So
I love this.
He's like attacking the car. Well, no, he walks between the cars and is just kind of like looking around because, as Grant said earlier, the T-Rex can't see very well, so if it's not moving, he can't see it.
So Grant's like tells Malcolm, he's like, don't move.
Yeah.
At all.
But the kids don't know that. They're in the car by themselves, so Lex gets out a flashlight and is trying to get the attention of Malcolm and Grant to get them to come over there to help them. But she attracts the T-Rex.
It's like, oi.
And so the T-Rex starts messing with the car, trying to get the kids. And he ends up, like, breaking the top glass out and then flipping the car over.
Oh,
and
God. I love that part.
Crushing it, like, crushing it down into the mud. And the kids are just terrified. And then Grant and Malcolm try to get the T-Rex's attention with flares because they're like waving at him and trying to get his attention and yelling at him and stuff. And Malcolm runs and he gets attacked by the T-Rex, but luckily he isn't bitten in half, so he's okay, we think. But the T-Rex knocked over the bathroom. And Gennaro stands up and tries to run, but he gets eaten.
Oh my gosh. Yes. That is like one of the greatest, like, scenes. Oh, just like that big old mouth just like chomps down on him.
Yeah.
Like, that's a kind of a cool way to die, but kind of a bad way.
Well, I don't know. I feel like if you get eaten like that, you're gonna be dead almost instantly. So I feel like it's a great way to die.
It's quick, I guess.
It's very quick.
I just love that. I'm like, oh, that is awesome.
Yeah. So we see Ian is kind of buried underneath some of the rubble. But it's luckily like a straw and wood house or wood bathroom, so it's not a lot of big heavy rubble. So a little bit of foreshadowing there for him. And then we see Grant trying to get to Tim with, he's got Lex over with him and they're hiding on the opposite side of the car from the T-Rex. So the T-Rex can't see them. And they end up climbing down the fence wires while the T-Rex pushes the car across the little ravine in its paddock with Tim still in the car.
Ugh.
And the car gets stuck in a tree and Lex and Grant get down to the ground, and then we jump back over to Nedry, and he has crashed again. He thought he was almost to the dock, but he crashed again. And he gets stuck, so he has to pull his winch, and he's trying to go attach his winch to something so he can pull himself out. But he gets his. He gets a Dilophosaurus comes and he sprays him with his acid and eats him.
Yeah. Like, I remember that scene very distinctly.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just do. And I remember after I watch it, it always just comes back to me. Like, I think I dreamed about it last night too.
Nice.
Like, it just sticks in your head because, like, this dude, like, totally gets his, but, like, this little dinosaur.
Yeah.
Like, sprains poison at him and just, like, eating him. Like,
and Dilophosauruses, they're not big. Like, raptors are about the size of a person. Dilophosauruses, they are small. They're about the size of a middle schooler, I would say.
Yeah, so not too big.
But they get Nedry, this little dude gets gets him some dinner. So then we go back to Grant and Lex, and Grant leads Lex over to this pipe, and she hides in there while Grant goes to get Tim out of the car from the tree. And so the car is up at the tree, and Tim's like, I don't want to come down. I'm good right here. I'm not leaving. But he convinces him right as the car starts to fall. So they have to climb super fast to get to the bottom. And they get to the bottom in the nick of time. But then the car falls over. And then Tim goes, well, we're back in the car.
I always thought about this part. And I was thinking about this as I was watching it again. I'm like, why didn't they just move over a couple branches?
I think about that every time.
Okay, so I'm not the only one thinking this. I'm like, why are you trying to race a falling car?
It's a dramatic
when
effect.
you could just move over.
Yeah. It's the
logic,
dramatic effect. Logic has no place in movies. Dramatic effect takes place of logic.
I guess. I mean, it makes it for a better movie, but, like, my logical brain's like, just move over.
Yeah, that's what I think, too. So you're not the only one. So then, Statler she'd made it back to the visitor's lodge, and to the control room, and they told her that the kids and Grant were still out there, and Gennaro and Muldoon were still out there. So Statler, or not Muldoon, Gennaro and Malcolm were still out there. And so Statler and Muldoon go to find them, and they find Malcolm and Gennaro, and they're like, well, here's what's left of Gennaro.
Yeah, there's like 2 piles of him, really.
Yeah. And then they find Malcolm, and they get him into the car, and we hear the T-Rex coming. But they are looking for Grant and the kids still. They don't see the T-Rex yet. So they go down, and they see the other car, and then they see the tracks leading away. And so they know at least they're alive. Well, they have a hope of at least they're alive. And Malcolm's like calling him back because he hears the T-Rex coming, and they get in the car in the nick of time. And we get the T-Rex chase, which is so funny because I see this all the time right now with this T-Rex chase. They have decided to replace it with other things. There's one where you get a kitten chasing them instead of the T-Rex. I think that one is pretty good, but I think my favorite is Pee-wee Herman.
Oh my god. Pee-wee Herman?
Yes, it's great. You have to look it up.
Okay, I will.
They are great.
I'm like, this is again, another iconic scene from this movie. This big, all T-Rex just chasing this Jeep.
Yeah.
And he's like, faster, faster, faster.
Yeah. But they outrun the T-Rex. And then Grant and the kids climb up a tree, and they see some brachiosauruses. And they're singing. The brachiosauruses are like singing to each other. Eating their food. Grant does his little call. He calls to them. And then one lifts its head up like right near them. And looks at them. Lex is afraid because they literally just got attacked by the T-Rex. But Tim's like, no, this is a Vegiosaurus. Trying to tell her it doesn't eat people. And she's like, are you
no.
sure?
This one just eats plants. You're fine.
And then we get a couple of jokes from Tim. Which they're cheesy kid jokes, so do you think he saw us?
And me, I hang out with kids, so I'm like, I laugh.
I laughed. I thought it was funny. I love those jokes. They're great.
It was funny. I laughed at it, and Logan's like, what?
The blind T-Rex, or the blind dinosaur, do you think he saw us? And then the blind dinosaur's dog, do you think he saw us Rex? I think they're funny. But Grant says he'll stay up and watch the kids. And then we see the merchandise shop as well as like the cafeteria, and Hammond is eating the ice cream because the power's off, so the ice cream's melting. And I'm just like, that's perfect use of your time.
Completely.
That's exactly what I would do.
I'm depressed. I need ice cream.
But then him and Statler start talking, and he's talking about how he did his first park, and it ended up just being, like, all kinds of things wrong with it, and he just couldn't see it. Like, he was just so ecstatic with his very first theme park that he did, and it wasn't even, like, the world's greatest theme park or anything. It was just kind of like a tiny little one, and he never saw the issues with it, but everyone else did, and he's kind of having that same issue right now. And Statler's telling him, like, yeah, your park is like that right now. And he's like, but I know how to fix it this time. And she's like, what? She's like, how are you gonna fix this? People have already died. There's no fixing this. There's no going back now.
And she's like, I was so blinded by how in awe I was of them that I didn't realize how dangerous this really is.
Yeah.
It's true.
And then we see Grant and the kids wake up, and there's a dinosaur eating from the tree that they're in. And so they're feeding it and stuff, and Lex wants to pet it, but right when she goes to pet it, it like, backs up a little bit. Because it has to sneeze. All over her.
And I was like, boy, do I know that feeling.
Yeah. They're walking along in the forest, and Grant finds some eggshells, some dinosaur eggshells, which, as we know from the lab earlier in the movie, the dinosaurs aren't supposed to be able to breed because they're all females. But then he explains about how they used the frog DNA, and that some frogs can change their gender if need be.
Yep.
So the scientists have given the dinosaurs the ability to change their gender if need be. And need be.
And need be, it happened.
Yep.
And ta-da, you have more.
Yeah.
Without them knowing about it. Whoops.
Yeah. So, then they're in the control room, and they're talking about how they need to shut down the system because they can't do anything because of what Nedry did, and they need him back to do it, or they have to shut down the entire system. But then they talk about the lysine contingency, which is something that they put in for, I guess, like, security purposes. It is an enzyme that they have deprived the dinosaurs of, so that if they get off the island, they will die because they're not getting enough lysine, because their body won't produce it. And so they need to be on the island because the caretakers provide them that lysine that they need. And Hammond's like, you're not killing my dinosaurs! So he's like, just restart the system. So they have to shut the entire system down, which turns off everything.
Yeah, everything. Including the raptor cage.
Yeah. The raptors realize this, as we will soon learn.
Yeah.
And then they're trying to turn it back on, but it doesn't quite come on, so Arnold has to go to the maintenance shed to reset the breakers. Then we see Grant and the kids again, and they see... I don't remember what it was called. I think it was, Maiamosauruses, or something like that. I don't remember.
Starts with an M. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm usually really good about the names, but sometimes I forget them. But it's a herd of them, and they're running. And then they're running directly at Grant and the kids. So Grant and the kids have to run, and they go hide behind this big tree that's fallen over. And then they see the T-Rex. Because the T-Rex is the reason that they were running.
And the T-Rex just, like, starts eating the other dinosaurs.
Yeah. So he gets a few of them. Because, you know, he needed his dinner. Or his breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
So then something is going wrong in the control room, and they haven't heard from Arnold. So Muldoon and Statler are going to go reset the power. And that's when we see that the raptor fence is broken. The raptors have learned that the power is out. So
And
now
they
the
are
raptors
out.
are out.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
No.
Like, your smartest dinosaur is out.
Yeah.
Not good.
And they have 3 of them, I believe. Yeah, because earlier Muldoon had said that they had a lot, but then they had this one female who became the alpha, and she killed all but 2 of them, so there's only 3 of them right now. Luckily.
Yeah, you don't need more.
So the raptors are hunting Statler and Muldoon. Statler makes a break for it and gets to the maintenance shed while Muldoon is hunting the raptors. Then we see Grant and the kids, and they've made it to the perimeter fence, and he's like checking to see if the power has come back on, and he like jokes with the kids and pretends to get shocked. It's really funny.
And I'm like, that is such a dad joke. You can't, it's just like, really?
Yeah. And so they climb up the fence, and they're gonna go climb down the other side. And Hammond is on the radio with Statler telling her how to reset the power. So she's working on that, while Tim is still climbing on the fence. So it's a very suspenseful moment, because we're like seeing her slowly reset all the stuff, including the fences, while he's still climbing on one of the electric fences. And Grant and Lex see that the fences are coming back on, and so they're trying to get him off the fence, but he won't jump because he's scared, because he's too high up. And so he's about ready to jump off when the fence comes on and shocks him off.
Shocks him off and stops his heart.
Yeah. And then we see there's a raptor behind Statler. And so she's running, and she runs and into this wall, or like this door, and Arnold's arm falls on her. And it's...
I'm not gonna lie, I put that, and then I put an LOL next to it, because it made me laugh.
That's funny.
My morbid side of my brain, that made me laugh.
And that's some good special effects there. Like, that's a good practical effect.
I know, like the arm, and it just made me laugh. I don't know why.
Yeah, it was
but
great.
But it did.
It was great. But it was just his arm, not him.
Yeah, because she's like, oh, thank God you're here. Then it's like, arm. Oh, okay, you're dead. Never mind.
Yeah. But so then she books it. And, so she makes it to the outside of the fence. And the one thing I'm, like, really curious about, she just literally turned on all these electric fences besides that one. Because she straight up touched that without getting shocked. And she's, like, leaning against it without getting shocked. After she just turned on all the electrical fences. Because there's a sign that says warning, high voltage on that fence that she's leaning on. I didn't know if you noticed that.
I did it.
And this is the first time I ever noticed it. I was like, what?
I mean, the movie's not perfect.
No, I just thought it was really funny. I was like,
I didn't notice that. Huh.
I was like, hey, she just technically died. Because she's sitting there sitting on the electric fence.
Shh. Power of cinema.
Yeah. So then we see Muldoon is hunting the raptors. Well, being hunted by the raptors. Because, you know, he's being distracted by the one. He literally forgot what he told Grant earlier.
Like his own things that he knows about these raptors, saying that they hunt in packs and one's just a distraction.
Yeah. And so, of course, they get him.
Yeah.
Because he was distracted. And then we get some CPR on Tim. And luckily Tim wakes up. He was probably only out like a minute, so he's fine. Just minor brain damage, you know.
Only minor brain damage in a kid. What can go wrong?
So Grant and the kids make it back to the visitor center, and he leaves them in the cafeteria so he can go find everybody and bring them all back together so they can leave. So the kids sit there and start eating. Grant finds Ellie outside, and they're talking about how the raptors are out, and he's curious how many there are. And then we see the kids eating, and we see that there's a raptor behind Tim. So they book it into the kitchen.
Yes.
The raptors follow, and we get this whole, like, hunting sequence. We get a really cool visual, because we haven't really gotten a visual of how the raptors hunt. There's only 2 of them in this instance, but we get that really cool visual of how the raptors hunt from, like, here on out. And so they're slowly searching for the kids. They know the kids are in there. They could smell them. They can hear them because they keep making noise because they're kids. And they're scared. But the raptors get tricked by the reflection of the kids because it's all stainless steel in the kitchen. So it's reflective.
I'm not gonna lie, I laughed so hard at that.
That part's hilarious.
Like, it, like, goes, like, off, like, kid's like, yeah, I'm gonna get this kid, and then smack right into
So, you know how...
cabinet.
So you know how dogs run on wood floors and they can't stop themselves, so they just end up running into things? That's exactly what I see every time I see that. Just a dog booking it across this wood floor and not being able to stop, so it just runs smack into something.
Oh my god, that was just so funny. I'm like, see, they're smart, but they're not that smart.
Yep. So, the kids end up trapping one of the raptors in the freezer. And then the kids meet up with Statler and Grant, and they head up to the control room because they're going to try and get everything turned back on. One of the raptors is right outside the door of the control room while Lex is trying to get all the doors back on to where it will lock itself. And so she's able to get everything back on. The door locks. The raptor can't get in. So we think. So Grant calls Hammond and Ian and tells them everything's good. We're gonna leave now. But the raptor that was outside the control room figures out that it can break the glass. Because
it tested it.
Raptors are smart.
They're smart.
So
it's like, I can't go through here, so I'm gonna go through the glass window.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would have done that too.
Yeah.
This is an animal we're talking about here.
Yeah. So it ends up... So we hear... At the moment when it breaks through the glass, we see that, but then it jumps back to Hammond, and all we get is we hear screaming and shooting, and then we hear Hammond scream. And my thought right here is he screaming because of the raptor, or is he screaming because of the kids? Like, is he afraid that Grant is going to kill the raptor, or is he afraid that the raptor is going to kill the kids? Because throughout this entire movie, it seems like he's impartial to the kids at times when it comes to the animals. So I was just curious, like, what you thought about that.
Not sure. Maybe because he's just... Again, like, it's stated earlier that he's not a big fan of, like, kids.
Yeah.
In general. I mean,
No.
It shows that he's like, okay, I don't completely hate them now, but, you know, cool dinosaur kids. That's my thing.
Yeah. But so we get the raptor attack and we see it chasing the kids and Grant and Statler. And they manage to escape up through the ceiling. Barely. Almost lose Lex through the ceiling. And then they escape out to the lobby and they end up on the big skeleton. As does the raptor. And then we see that raptor, they're all down on the floor, and that one raptor that was chasing them is down there kind of trying to get them into one spot, and then another raptor comes in, the one that we didn't know quite where it was, because there is one still trapped in the freezer.
Yes.
So there's two, and then all of a sudden the T-Rex comes in out of nowhere and gets one of them. T-Rex always saves the day.
It's like...
Kind of.
I mean, I was like, okay, what's gonna happen? And like, I remember watching this. I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen? Like, these raptors, are they gonna get the people? Then all of a sudden, this T-Rex shows up. I'm like, okay, so the T-Rex is a hero now?
Yeah.
After, like, he tried eating you all?
Yeah. But he's just going after what's moving, and the raptor was moving and making noise, so... Yeah, the T-Rex is the villain and the hero.
I mean, with those... the T-Rex isn't very smart.
No.
So, I mean, okay. It just goes by, okay, you move, I eat you.
Yep. Pretty much.
I was like, now think about that. Just think of, like, if a human thought that.
Yeah. So...
I mean, I think some humans actually, like, do that, you know. Hey, if that thing moves, I'm gonna eat it.
Yeah. So, Hammond and Ian pull up outside in a Jeep, and everybody gets in, and they all leave. They go to the helicopter pad and head out.
Yep, and the T-Rex is like, he wins against, like, the raptors.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he's bigger.
Yep. And, as they're, like, flying over the ocean, we get a shot, I think it's pelicans, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was, too.
We get a shot of, like, 5 or 6 pelicans, and I think that's just kind of a salute to Dr. Grant's theory, because Dr. Grant's theory is that the dinosaurs are more closely related to birds than they are to reptiles, as everyone was thinking. So I think that's just kind of a salute to Dr. Grant's theory. I don't really know why they put the pelicans there, but that's all I could think.
Yeah, that's a good thing to... Yeah, I would go with that.
Okay. But yeah, that's the end of it.
That's Jurassic Park for you.
Yeah. So, the music for this one, not only is this the 3rd Steven Spielberg movie that we have gotten, this is also the 3rd John Williams score we have gotten. And it's funny because they've all corresponded. We've had him with Jaws and Catch Me If You Can, and now Jurassic Park. And then, of course, our very first Harry Potter event, we've had him, too.
That's true. It's like, John Williams is just like the man. If you want a really good musical score, you hit him up.
Yeah.
You hit either him up, you hit, Zimmer?
Yeah, Hans Zimmer.
And there's a couple other ones.
Yeah, there's a few of them, but...
But those two stand out.
Yeah, those two are the ones we've had a couple of movies with so far.
I was like, what was the last one? It was,
Hans Zimmer did Rush.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, we just did one with him.
Yeah.
What was it? It was Rush.
Yep, it was Rush. So, yeah, we've already talked about John Williams, and throughout this entire movie we've talked about the music, so...
Ugh.
You know, this is...
I love my birthday twin.
Just absolutely love the music to this movie. It's amazing.
Oh. Incredible.
I don't think they could have gotten anyone better to do it, so.
No, and, like, even, like, this is, it, because, like, we said earlier, it's like a PG horror film.
Yeah.
And so he kind of had to think of that, too, when he was composing everything. So, like, in those quiet parts, they're like, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And you're like, okay, what's going on? Music stops. So that's typical of, like, horror films.
Something's gonna happen.
It's like, if you've seen enough horror films, you know, if the music stops, or if it gets really quiet and starts building, you know something's going on.
Yeah.
But we've seen a lot of horror films. You especially.
Yeah. I watch a lot. So, the comparison. There is quite a bit to compare this to. We have the book, which I was able to finish as of today.
I was like, I was not. So, Kat, you got the book.
So the book is actually really different. One of the major differences is how much science they put into it. They go so much into the science in the book. They give you so much more information. Grant and Sattler are not a couple. They are teacher and student. Grant is a teacher. Sattler is a student. Alex is younger. then Tim. There's 2 T-Rexes on the island, not one. There's a younger one, a juvenile one, and then there's the big one. At the end of the book, Hammond and Malcolm end up dying.
Oh.
Yeah. Gennaro is still alive at the end of the book. Muldoon's still alive at the end of the book. Arnold is dead, so that one stayed the same. They end up finding a ton of raptors, like 30-something raptors. And these raptors at the end of the book, because it's like the very end after all the attacks and everything, they're getting ready, they've restored the power, they're getting ready to leave. But they're like, we have to go find these raptors. We have to go find out how many there are. So they find the nests, and they follow the raptors. The raptors, they, like, are up on this pedestal thing, so the raptors don't know they're there. Like, some of the baby ones know they're there, because there's, like, tons of babies in the juvenile ones, but the adult ones can't seem to, they don't seem to understand that they're there. But the raptors end up running outside their little cave that they have, because they hear a boat. And then they're, like, eyeing the boat, and Grant's like, they're trying to migrate. They want to get on the boat so they can leave this place and go to a different place. They're trying to migrate. Also, the compies are not in this movie at all. They are in the book. We also get the attack on the little girl that happens on the island is actually in the Jurassic Park book instead of the Lost World. Because it's in the beginning of the Lost World movie, but it's actually in the Jurassic Park book.
It's like, I got that far.
Yeah, that's at the very beginning, so... So
I read that.
So we figure out that dinosaurs have already figured out how to get off the island.
Yeah.
And those are like the major differences that I can remember.
Okay.
But it's a really good book. I would definitely recommend reading it. Then we've got The Lost World, which is Jurassic Park 2.
Yeah.
And then we've got Jurassic Park 3. Then Jurassic World. Then Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Of those 4, in my opinion, Jurassic World is the best. The other ones have their moments, but The Lost World and Fallen Kingdom are basically the same story.
Okay, I haven't seen The Fallen Kingdom, actually. That's okay. Logan didn't like it, so he's like, don't watch it. Like,
it's one of the worst. One more thing from the book. Costa Rican government bombs the island at the end.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I haven't read The Lost World to know exactly what happens, but that's what happens in Fallen Kingdom, is the government has planted bombs on the island and blows it up. And then you get basically the Lost World cloning of the dinosaurs on mainland thing. And then
wow.
Jurassic Park 3, this kid and his dad were on some trip out near the island, and they ended up crashing and had to stay on the island, so somebody hired Grant to go rescue them from the island. And that one has some cool things to it, like you actually get to see pterodactyls, which were in the book but not in the movie, so you actually get to see pterodactyls in that one, which is cool. And then Jurassic World reminds me a lot of the first one, because it's basically just trying again.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of too when I watched it.
But in this one, in Jurassic World, they make their own dinosaur.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing.
Well, we didn't learn our mistake from making regular dinosaurs. Now we're just gonna make our own.
We're gonna make them even bigger and badder and more deadly.
Yeah. So, of the 5, my favorites are Jurassic Park, of course, and then Jurassic World, and then from there, I think it's probably Jurassic Park 3. Then The Lost World and Fallen Kingdom just are kind of together because they're both equally as bad. I mean, I'll watch them because they're dinosaur movies, but they're kind of like guilty pleasure movies. Because they're not great.
Okay, I can see that. I mean, like, I really just like watching the first one.
Yeah. The first one is the best one, of course.
And it's the only one on our list.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you?
That says a lot, so.
It's like, and this is like 26 years old.
Yeah.
And it's the only one on the list.
Jurassic World has a 7.
Okay.
The Lost World has a 6.6. Fallen Kingdom has a 6.2. Jurassic Park 3 has a 5.9.
Ugh.
Yeah, so not a lot of people liked the third one, but I honestly like the third one better than Fallen Kingdom and The Lost World. Not much better, but I do like it better. But I like Jurassic World and Jurassic Park much better than the other 3, so.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
So yeah, that's those. I don't want to go into too much detail just because it's 5 movies, and we already talked for an hour and a half on one of them, so.
I was like, and like, even like, when we get to the trivia, there's so much of it. Like, I don't even know where to start.
Just pick like 5.
Pick 5 of them?
Yeah.
You freaking kidding me?
No.
Okay, well, here's one. This one is the first to use the DTS, which is the digital surround sound.
Yep.
Because, you know, you gotta get that right sound for those dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's why I like watching it with our big TV and, like, the surround sound that we have.
Yeah, same here.
Love it. What was it? I read about this one that there was a person who got trapped in the T-Rex.
Oh yeah, I remember reading
mouth,
about that.
And what happens? He was like working on it and on the mouth, and he got stuck, and the mouth shut down on him, and he had to curl up in a ball so tight that he wouldn't get crushed to death.
Yeah, because when they were doing maintenance on it, I remember reading this article. When they had to do maintenance on it, they had to have the power on the T-Rex, so the T-Rex had to be on. But
Yes.
the power went out, and so he got stuck while he was inside. I was like, holy crap, that T-Rex literally almost killed someone.
Literally. I mean, it's just like, you know, just like the movie.
Yeah.
How they did the Triceratops, especially, is it's, again, like a big puppet.
Yeah.
And, like, with the animatronic, especially when it's breathing, that's a whole system they have to do. And, like, with its mouth opening and all of that. And it's hand-painted.
Dang.
Yes, that Triceratops is hand-painted.
That's awesome.
I was like, oh my gosh, that makes it so much better.
Yeah.
This combination of the T-Rex sounds is that it's a combination of, like, 5 different animals.
Yeah, I do remember reading that too.
A dog, a penguin, a tiger, an alligator, and an elephant all together.
Yeah.
That's how you get that T-Rex sound. That, I mean, everyone knows that sound now.
Yeah.
I was, like, just thinking, like, before this, there really wasn't much going on with the dinosaur, especially with the sound.
Yeah, we had no reference, and then they just make up this sound with these animals, and automatically now everyone knows exactly what that sound is when you play it. Like, it doesn't matter where you play it, that's a T-Rex, you know that.
Exactly. You're like, what?
Yeah.
So, there's actually, you know, this is a movie about dinosaurs, right?
Yeah.
There's, like, really only, like, 15 minutes of dinosaurs in here.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah, you don't really see a lot of dinosaurs.
No. Most of it is from the animatronics.
Yeah.
Most of it is. Like, just like, I mean, the T-Rex, the Triceratops. That's the big part of it. That's like almost 10 minutes of it. So the rest of it is pretty much just the human interaction.
Yeah, and you get you got a lot of build up and a lot of tension from that, though, because you see the fear from the people, and that gives you that shows you the feelings of what you're supposed to feel, or what you think you're supposed to feel.
So the kids, are like holding up that windshield, right?
Yeah.
Well, the T-Rex went a little too far down on it, and like the kids actually got hurt from it.
Oh no.
I was like, oh.
Whoops.
Whoops. This big T-Rex kind of crushed the kids. Just a little bit. Not too bad. But, still. I was like, oh gosh. And I think this is coolest. This is really cool. And I'll stop here.
Okay.
How to get the water to vibrate. What happened is that you have to put... It's to do with water and with a guitar string and plucking it. That's all it is, really.
So they just use sound?
Yep. Just the guitar string, you just pluck it, and the vibration from it causes the water to do that.
Nice.
Which I think is really cool, because I was like, how the hell did they do that?
That's smart.
Because, it's not a real dinosaur coming.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to show that anticipation of it. And it's like, okay, how's that going to happen? I'm like, there's always those jokes like, oh, if you see that water vibrating, there's a dinosaur coming.
Yeah.
There's just so much. I can only limit it down to that.
That's fine.
So much. Big props to Stan Winston, though.
Yeah.
Oof.
Groundbreaking effects, amazing.
Rest his soul, Stan Winston. But his legacy continues on.
Yes.
So we're good.
So long as they keep re-releasing Jurassic Park, everyone's gonna know who he is. Literally, I mean it. There's even a showing next Friday in Denver. There's 2 showings at a theater in Denver of Jurassic Park.
Really?
Yeah, I know it's something in Aurora. I think it's like a dinner theater type thing. But literally, they are still showing it in theaters.
Oh, I want to go.
Yeah, I was thinking about going. I was like, hey!
Like, that would be awesome to go see it live in, the movie theaters, because it's always so different on the big screen.
It is.
Always. Back to the Future. I've seen that, a bunch of times. See it on the big screen? Completely different. It's so much better on the big screen.
Yeah.
And I know this would be too.
Alrighty. So, where it has been on the list before, and today, where it's at. In 2010, it was not on the list, which I find surprising.
Really?
Yeah. I
That's
even,
shocked.
double-checked and went through every single movie from the 2010 list. Didn't see it. So the 2012 list, it was number 246. 2014, it was number 237. 2016, it was 208. 2018, it was number 182. And as of today, when we are recording, it is number 168. So it is very steadily going up.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad of that. And
I
I'm
am as well.
still amazed it was not on the list in 2010.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, what was wrong with people in 2010? Why was it on the list?
When did Jurassic World come out? That was a few years later, but, when exactly did that one come out?
2015.
15?
Yeah.
Okay. That might explain why it, started going up after,
Yeah, I got the
2016.
rejuvenation. Well, in 2013, it was re-released in 3D.
Okay, that explains that. And that would be its, 20th anniversary?
Yeah.
Okay. I can see why then.
And then, of course, last year, they did its 25th anniversary, so.
Yes.
And now everybody's just, falling in love with it all over again, so that's why it's going back.
Yeah, I can see it. I'm glad it's going up, more and more.
I am,
Hopefully
too.
it gets higher, because it deserves it.
I agree. Alright, so, previously, number 196, the 2010 list, Network from 1976, the 2012 list, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf from 1966. The 2014 list, Gangs of Wasseypur from 2012. The 2016 list, Wild Tales from 2014. The 2018 list, Memories of Murder from 2003. And then as of today when we were recording, Andrei Rublev from 1966.
And that's on the list,
yeah,
too.
Quite a few of them, actually, are on the list.
I was like, I know Andrei Rublev is number 178 on ours.
So it's coming up pretty soon. A few months. So, favorite line. I'll let you go first this time, since last time I stole some of yours.
Where do I start?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll do some of mine. Of course, the classic, Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
When Dennis is with that guy, he's like, oh, keep it down. He's like, see, Dotson's right. He's like, see, nobody cares.
Yeah. Oh,
Love
funny.
that line. Life will not be contained. Life finds a way.
Yep, I did Life Finds a Way.
This is probably, like, one of my favorites. Like, out of all of them. Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could that they didn't stop to think if they should.
Yep, I wrote that one down as well.
That's a good one. The T-Rex one, how Grant's saying T-Rex don't want to be fed, they want to hunt.
Yep.
That's one of them. And I gotta find the entire line of this one, so go ahead and say yours, and then I'll find mine. I gotta find the whole thing.
Okay. Right at the beginning, when the raptor is attacking, Muldoon is yelling, shoot her. It's just like, you automatically know what that's from. Just automatically. Like, it's just very iconic. The little kid, that doesn't look very scary. More like a 6-foot turkey. In 48 hours, I'll be accepting your apology. My absolute favorite from this movie, just like what my reaction would be if this was me going to this island. It's a dinosaur. Yeah, John, but if Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, the pirates don't eat the tourists.
Yeah, I like that line too. It's funny.
And then Hammond, after careful consideration, I've decided not to endorse your park. And that's all I got.
I can't think. It starts with like. Maybe you can help me out with it. It's like, creation is the act of something. I can't think of the rest of it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I just can't think of the rest of it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm looking, and I can't find it. Ah, here it is. Creation is the act of sheer will.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, there it is. I just couldn't write the rest of it down because I was trying to pay attention at the same time. So what do you think? I know you love this movie, so I'll let you pick.
I mean, there's so many good ones on this, but I really, really think that it's a dinosaur is like the best line of this movie, honestly.
It's so simple, and yet just like
it's literally the reaction anybody would have.
It's like, whoa, it's a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Go with it. I like it.
Alright, so what is your rating?
I'm surprised myself, but I'm giving it a 9.
Alright.
Solid 9, because it's those animatronics that get me every time. Every time! That's the cinematography and the score.
Yeah.
Those 3 things get me, and that's why I give it a 9.
Yeah. I'm giving it as 9 as well. Like, the only reason I'm taking the points off is because the CG isn't, like, it didn't age that well when they did the CG. Like, if this was made now, like, if they literally had just made this movie, I honestly don't think there would be anything wrong with it. But that's just my opinion. And I think, like, even though it's so different from the book, like, normally I complain about this, it being so different from the book, but I had no idea that it was a book until about 2 years ago. So I had never read the book until I finished it just now, today. So I don't even care that it's different, just because I was already in love with the movie beforehand, that now I can't take it, like, I don't care. Like, I already absolutely loved the movie, so it doesn't matter to me. Like, the book was really good, and I enjoyed it, but I also think that the fact that I enjoyed the book so much is because I already knew so much about the movie. Like, I had already seen the movie, I already know a lot about dinosaurs just because I love dinosaurs so much. So then, going and reading this book, just getting some more information, just added to the book for me, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
So yeah, both of us are 9s on that one, which is awesome.
That doesn't happen very often that we both, like, really, really like a movie.
Yeah.
Don't happen very often.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
No. It's probably a good thing.
Yeah, us not agreeing all the time, I think, is actually a good thing.
I mean, well, it's gonna happen. Like, you're such a Slytherin, and I'm such a Gryffindor, that it's just, like, you know.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It happens every time, so.
Completely.
So, our next movie is Ben-Hur from 1959.
Yep, that's movies over 3 hours long.
Yeah. 3-hour movie, so, that'll be fun.
We'll try to keep it short, but we'll see what happens.
So, next week will be Ben-Hur. Then our event coming up is our Halloween event, which will be out on Halloween. You will get Beetlejuice and Hereditary from me.
And Young Frankenstein and Nightmare on Elm Street. Those are mine I picked.
So we are offering premium. If you would like to become a premium member, you will get uncut episodes, early release episodes, and a special monthly episode, all for $1 a month. For $5 a month, you will get all of that, as well as you get to pick a movie of your choice every 50 movies to come and join us. Our August special episode is The Sandlot, which will be up on August 31st for premium members, or if you would just like to listen to The Sandlot, listen to our review of it, it will be available for just $1. If you could leave us ratings and reviews or contact us, let us know how we're doing. We would really appreciate it, especially the ratings and reviews. That helps us get some more listeners. If you want to get in contact with us, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. We will respond. Not sure how fast because the school year has started, so we are both very busy right now, but we will respond. You can also email us. If you are looking for any previous episodes, I don't know if they're still up on some of the sites. You can always find them on Podbean, catandjesstalkthebest.podbean.com. Please share the show with your friends. They can find the show everywhere. Also, our music is by Audio Binger, and you can find him on Facebook, YouTube, and his website, audiobinger.net. And as always, thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate it.
Yep.
So till next time with Ben-Hur. Bye.
Bye.